Good morning, dear children. Today we have come to the lesson Develop Good Habits. It's about character development. How do you develop your character? What is character? Character is doing the right thing when nobody is looking. So, whenever somebody is looking at us, we can do something. And we might do things to please them or to show them. But character shows what you do when nobody is looking. So, are you doing good things? Are you doing bad things? All that when nobody is looking, what do you do? That shows your our character. Okay, let's repeat this. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. What is that again? Motivation is what gets you started. So you can be motivated to start something. But can you make it a habit? One day you might do it. That is not a habit. Good things you can start, but you keep on doing it. That's when it becomes a habit and it is going to help us. So whenever we want to do something that is good, if you want to change yourself, you can listen to all the motivation, but it's only when we keep on doing it. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, fourth day, fifth day. So after 30 days, anything can become a habit. So keep on doing what is good and you can change all your bad habits. So if you have a bad habit, how do you know a bad habit? Bad habit is not good for you, and bad habit doesn't help anybody else. It doesn't help anyone. So let's read this. Read with me. The Garden of Life. Meera and Geetu were classmates as well as intimate friends. So Meera and Geetu were classmates and they were very good friends. They were best friends. Intimate friends means they knew everything that about each other. Once their class teacher requested the students to engage themselves in a hobby of their choice. So what happened? One day their class teacher was telling them you can start any hobby that you like. So anything. So after 6 months, the teacher inquired about the hobbies of her students. So after 6 months, the teacher had told them to start doing any hobby of their own, what they like. And after 6 months, the teacher was asking, she was asking about the hobbies of her students. She was asking what you're doing and what about whatever hobby they had been doing through the last 6 months. Meera and Geetu reported gardening was their hobby and they have set up gardens at home. The teacher requested to bring photographs of these gardens to see how beautiful they were. So Meera and Geetu told their teacher. The teacher asked what their hobbies were and they told their teacher that gardening was their hobby and they had both set up gardens at home. So both of them have hobbies, gardening, and they have a garden at home. So the teacher told them, you can bring photographs of your garden to see how beautiful they were. So you can see below that now in the next slide we will see the images of the two gardens. So we have to observe them carefully and closely and find the answers to the questions, okay? So now you can see Meera's garden and Geetu's garden. What happened? What is it? Is there any difference? Yes, there are differences between both the gardens. Look at that. What's the first question? Which garden did you like most? Why? Yes, we all like Meera's garden because why? Why do you like that garden? It's full of flowers and it's green and it is very beautiful to see. Now, second question, which of the two gardens is more beautiful? We know by looking at it, we know Meera's garden is more beautiful than Geetu's garden. How is Meera's garden different from that of Geetu's? We told that she has many flowers in it and she has taken care of her garden. How can Geetu make her garden better? Geetu can make her garden better by taking care of her plants. Do you think so? So, if life is a garden, what makes it beautiful? So, whenever you have any sort of habits, you develop it and it makes your life beautiful. So, life is just like a garden. You plant something, you plant a seed. So, Meera has planted seeds. Beautiful flowers have come out of the seeds, and she can enjoy the flowers. But what happened to Geetu's garden? She had planted seeds, but those plants were not so good, they are not so lively, and she has not taken care of her garden. She could have made it better. So, sixth question: what makes the garden of life less attractive? When something is not good in our lives and we don't enjoy it, nor does it make it beautiful, then our lives are not going to be enjoyable. So, whenever you have something that is a thing of beauty in your life, that is a habit. So, life is like a garden, and your habits make it very attractive. How can we improve the beauty of life? Let's look at that in the next section. Repeat with me. A habit is a regular action or tendency which is very difficult to give up. So, when we have a tendency to do something over and over again, it naturally becomes a habit. So, a habit is a regular activity. Anything. It can be like you can think about when you look at the boy, he's brushing his teeth. That is a good habit, and we have been learning this habit from our young days. When we were a small kid, we have started. Now it's a habit for you to get up in the morning and brush your teeth. But some people, they brush in the morning and at night. But if we don't have that habit, we will have to try and get that habit. So whenever we have a tendency to do something over and over again, it becomes a habit. So now, once a habit is acquired, most probably it will stay with us all through the life. So once we have a habit, it's going to stay with us throughout our life. If it can stay with us throughout our life if we don't try to get rid of it. So one thing is, it's of course then it becomes extremely difficult to get rid of it. So once you have a habit, if it's a good habit, it stays with you through the life. If it's a bad habit also, it stays with us throughout the life if we don't try to change it. So first things first, we have to accept that we have a bad habit. So now let's look at that. There are two kinds of habits, good and bad. The good habits are those which help us to achieve great things in life. A person with such positive habits will surely be a success. So, what happens whenever you look at people? Everybody has good and bad habits. So when you look at people, we know that something about them, we know that that habit is not helping us, not helping them to become great in life. Why? Because it's a bad habit. But people who are in higher positions and they are a success, they succeed because they have cultivated some good habits. So these good habits have helped them to become a success in life. And what happens? These bad habits are those which makes life dull. A person with such negative habits will naturally. So let's read that part. The bad habits are those which make life dull. A person with such negative habits will naturally move to failure. It is very difficult to acquire good habits, but comparatively easier to give up. On the other hand, acquiring a bad habit is easier, but getting rid of it, it's very difficult. That means whenever there is a bad habit, you can acquire a bad habit easily, but it is more difficult to get rid of a bad habit. But getting it is, you have to try more to acquire or to get a good habit. A habit, once you somebody tells you to do something, if you that is a good thing, but if it's not your habit, you have to Keep on doing it, keep on doing it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You have to keep on doing it for more than 3 weeks. So any habit can be formed by keeping on doing it for more than 30 days. So once you keep on doing it, you can form a good habit. Same way, it is difficult for us to form a good habit because you have to keep on trying, but bad habits, it's just we can acquire it, and we just keep on doing it because it's more easier to be lazy, and so we can get lazy and do things that are not very good for us. But if you have to think about studying, you have to study 1 day, the next day if you don't study, you have lost that habit again, you have to sit the next day. But don't give up, you can still continue, and then you can acquire a good habit. So just look at that picture. When there is a time, best time to develop habits. Repeat with me. Best time to develop habits. When should I begin to acquire good habits? The boy is asking. When should I begin to acquire good habits? So the lady is telling how he's asking the lady, and she is replying, asking him a question. How old are you? 10 years old, madam. You are 10 years late. So, so she tells that you are 10 years late. But most habits you take time to develop during the early age. We don't know what to do, so we have been doing things. But when one so most of the habits are formed at a very early age. When one is young, it is easy to acquire a habit. It is up to us to recognize and adopt good habits. So suppose you have a bad habit, and somebody tells you, when your teachers tell you, when your parents tell you, and if you have a bad habit, that is, you know, they are telling you every time. So if you're not reading enough, you have to start reading and make reading a habit. So what can you do? You can start reading for more than 1 hour daily outside your study books. So you can study those books. Apart from that, you have to start cultivating a reading habit. For that, you can start reading every day before you go to bed. You can start reading uh, for an hour. So that every day, every night, when you do that, that becomes a habit. So that will increase your vocabulary, that will increase your knowledge, that is outside your studies. So when you start doing something, that becomes a habit. Suppose you want to develop a habit of singing well or drawing well. So what can you do? You can practice every day, and then you will become the best, and that becomes a habit with you. Every day when you try something, it becomes better and better. So that's how you develop a habit. So when you are small, you didn't know how to write well. But when you started writing, then you started picking up your brain will tell you how to write. So you can always start good habits, but you have to keep on doing it so that we will not let go of that habit. So once it becomes a habit, it stays with us, but we have to keep on. So repeat with me. Even if we accidentally acquire bad habits, they should be immediately removed. So suppose you have a bad habit and everybody is telling you that, change it, throw it away. The habits we form at an early age ultimately shape our character. So whatever habits we have now, if you're going to be lazy now and not learn, you will be having trouble in the higher classes. Don't you think so? Because you have to know the basics, or how will you build like a foundation for the building. Big buildings have strong foundations. So you have to have a strong foundation. You start learning whatever your teachers tell you to do. Finish your work, finish your assignments, and finish everything on time. When you are punctual, we learned in the uh, last year we learned about punctuality. So everything has a time. If a farmer doesn't sow the seed on time, we will not be able to eat our food. The flowers won't grow in time, and we will not the flowers will not get time to grow into fruits, or and we don't get the result for our actions. So everybody has their duty, they have to do it on time. So I want you to go through this once more, read the whole chapter once more till that's till page number 13. And the next class we'll discuss about the all the traits, all the activities you can do that will give you good habits. Okay, before that you can just go through that and we can discuss that in the next class. So till next week, bye, god bless you all.